You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
LeGarrette, thank you very much. I'm really excited to get things started, man. I want to get your take. First of all, the big story up here in the offseason, the departure of Josh McDaniels and how that's going to impact what the Patriots do on the offensive side of the ball. In your experience, how is that going to change things in terms of the way the New England offense operates?
I don't think it's going to change things per se. I think the offense will still operate the same. I think they're going to still attack every game with run the ball and stop the run. As far as who's going to be calling it, I don't know. My guess would be leaning towards Matty P because Matty P has the most experience and he's been there the longest. And obviously he's had head coaching experience now. So, my guess would be Matty P. But I wouldn't put it past Bill to let Matty P and probably somebody like Joe Judge or some other guys that have had to be in the offensive room whenever the game plans are put in. Obviously, as a head coach, you got to be in there whenever you guys are game planning the offense and stuff like that. And those guys have just a little bit more experience. So those two guys would be the people that I think that he would go with. But shit, I don't know if he, me personally, I don't know if Bill might go out there and call the offense himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's that kind of guy. He's really hands-on.
Are we going to see a situation? I'm glad you mentioned that because I know that in years past, like you said, Bill's been hands-on. His MO is he's very involved in everything across the board. Could we see a situation where Bill ends up calling some offensive plays?
Bill, neck deep into that defense, man. That's his baby. So I think situationally, you might get Bill, to chime in here and there, which is the same as it was when he was when Josh was there,
Mm-hmm.
He'll chime in here or there. One thing I don't know is if things aren't going the right way, I don't know if he'll take full control or if he'll, sit him down, talk to him and figure it out. But we always start kind of slow. We always kind of start, all the games that we usually lose, we usually lose about 3 or 4 games a season. And 2 or 3 of those games are in the first 6 or 7 weeks, always.
The idea of Mac Jones finding his footing and kind of going from here to here in that offense. He was good last year. He certainly had the first half of last season. The numbers were where you wanted them to be, especially for a guy with so little experience in the league. What does he have to do now to be able to be a consistent week-to-week quarterback in the National Football League, to be able to win games on his own, maybe, as opposed to not just losing them like we saw last year?
Man, I think people, myself included, underestimated Mac Jones as a quarterback. A lot of these Alabama guys or these guys that went to Alabama, I can't name any of them that has panned out in the NFL. Nobody at Brady status, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I mean, even a Alabama guy that's, Matt Ryan status or, Phillip Rivers status or, just guys, that are really, really good and have been really, really good in the league for a really long time. Obviously, a couple of them haven't won championships, but, not their fault. I think Matt can become, that kind of guy. Obviously with the help of an extremely good defense that Bill is going to always put together. He's always going to put together a really good defense. I think Matt can really become one of those special guys. He took him to the playoffs last year, and this is not a knock against any receiver there, but he took him to the playoffs last year with he didn't have a Julio Jones. He didn't have a AJ Brown. He didn't have a, Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham Jr. He had N'Keal Harry. He had Jacoby Myers. He had Hunter. He had the big tight end from Tennessee. I forget his name.
Jonnu.
Yeah, they got those guys. I mean, and granted, Hunter and Jonnu are key pieces because they can bust the offense wide open, but you got to have some outside guys to stretch the field. And I think with what he had, he did a really good job.
So the arrival of Devontae Parker, at least in theory, Yeah, it should be the kind of thing that could get him, like I said, from here to here. Those kind of additions, plus you hope that Jonnu Smith becomes who you hope he could be. You know, you get Hunter Henry, you have another season of Hunter Henry in the system. You have one of my favorites, James White, coming back, and you have that running game. You have that ground game that was so consistent and so good over the course of the year last year. It feels like this offense, and I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic, it feels like the offense is almost right there. More of the questions that I have are on the defensive side of the ball, at least going forward.
Yeah, losing JC is huge. Losing JC is huge. You know, just having it's 32 teams in the NFL, but there's not 32 lockdown corners. You know what I'm saying? There's a handful. I don't really like to throw that lockdown corner out there like that because, man, them cornerbacks and them DBs, they sensitive. They might catch wind of this and be like, hey, man, LeGarrette Blount think I'm da-da-da-da-da. Listen, fellas, a lockdown corner in my eyes would be a JC. For the retired guys, Aqib Talib. Mm-hmm. Somebody like Revis. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And for the guys that are still playing, I mean, you go on with, you know, the kid from Diggs from Dallas.
Jalen Ramsey. Put him in there as well. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You can definitely Jalen Ramsey. My bad, my guy. I ain't even mean to leave you out of the conversation, but you already know what you are. But you know, the guys like that, these are guys that are locked down. These are can't miss guys. You can't let them get away. You know, but with Bill, he always found a diamond in the rough. He always found him a nice gem. He has a way of being able to keep the veteran players that are already absolutely awesome. And Devin McCourty, the guys, Devin McCourty and the guy, I don't know if they even retained. I think they didn't let go. They let go Hightower. They didn't even let Hightower.
Hightower's not signed. Hightower's not signed for this year. He's still kind of in limbo at this point.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But regardless of what anybody thinks, bro, Hightower at, a healthy Hightower, he's probably one of the best middle linebackers in the league. Mm-hmm. So Bill knows that. Everybody knows that. So we're gonna keep hopefully we keep the defense intact. Hopefully we find somebody. And I mean, they brought back Malcolm Butler, who at one point was a shutdown corner. Especially for New England. So you got guys like that. He feels like if I can get the guys that can run the system and do what I say do and do it the right way, I might not have to bring back the J.C. Jacksons. I might not have to bring back the Hightowers. I might not have to bring back the Jamie Collins. I might not have to bring back any of those guys because I could bring in younger, more with less mileage on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Younger guys with less mileage that could come out here and do the same thing that these guys do. Bill is second to none when it comes to that.
You bring up Malcolm, and I'm glad you do because I'm curious. You're a guy who went through this as well. Why do so many guys come back to New England where they'll either start here or they're traded to New England and then they go somewhere else and then they come back? You went through it. Malcolm went through it. Jamie Collins, Trent Brown. Why do guys want to come back to New England?
I'm going to tell you why I personally wanted to come back. I personally wanted to come back because obviously I enjoyed my time there. I worked hard and I don't have a problem with working hard. So that's cool with me. I think a lot of guys that don't enjoy their time there and don't like being there are the guys that don't like to put in the work, don't like to do things their own way. They're stuck in their ways. They aren't coachable. They won't receive. They're not receptive to new ideas. If for instance, if guy, you look great at outside corner. Hey, you look better at slot. Some guys, or you look great at outside receiver. Hey, you're a great downhill back, but start doing this more or whatever. Some guys can't take that well, and I think those are the guys that I always want out. When I was there, I expressed multiple times how much and how bad I wanted to be there and how much I loved it there. Granted, I did show up a couple times in training camp a little overweight. Mm-hmm. I did, but you know, again, I know the consequences of that. I know that I'm gonna have to go run the conditioning test. I know if I fail it, I know I'm gonna have to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning the next day, run it again, and practice. You know what I'm saying? So I you know, I know the consequences, and I was cool with that. You know, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't come overweight all the time, but the one or two times that I did, I understood what I had to do to get back right. Build them understood what I had to do to get back right, and they trusted me because, you know, the whole time I was there, I was one of the premier backs. Even when I came back from Pittsburgh, I ended up, you know, I came back from Pittsburgh at 258 pounds or something like that, which is they gave me number 60 my first day of practice. So Bill was like, you're gonna be on the line until you get down to the playing weight. But obviously I started that Sunday. But still though, you know, it's, you know, I enjoyed it there, man. I love Bill to death.
There's a consistency, or at least there seems like there's a consistency with Bill, and there's an understanding and a trust amongst veteran players that you know exactly what you're doing when you're walking in that door. He will not put you in a position where you will not be able to succeed.
100%. I 100% agree on that. And I think that a lot of guys got to take that into consideration. And, you know, sometimes that position to succeed might not be what you or what I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, hey, I need to do this right here. I need to run this run. I need to run this play. I need to do this right here in order for me to be my best version of my best self. You know, who's to argue with Bill? If Bill don't see it that way, I'm not going to argue with you. Nah, LG, this is what you need to do. This is what we see you doing, and this is going to be your bread and butter. In my eyes, I'm like, shit, okay, Bill, let's get it. You know, a lot of guys are going to do that. You know, they might be like, man, all right. You know, or they might be like, man, I ain't never done that, or whatever. You know, they just might not be open to it. I'm telling you, man, Bill is extremely smart. Hands down, just my personal opinion, the best coach to ever coach in the NFL. And he's the most strategic. He's the most organized. Like, he to the T. You know, all the way down to the numbers and percentages. He's the best out there. I haven't seen anyone as you know, as on point as he is, because he's never wrong. Literally.
What's the conditioning test like? I've been fascinated by it, and I tried to do like about 10 or so years ago. I talked to a couple of guys in the locker room, and they said, okay, the conditioning test is like this, and it's, you know, these sprints, and you have to do them in this amount of time. And I went out and I tried to do it as a reporter, and I failed miserably. I'm curious to get your take on what it's like.
All right, so I am technically a skilled position, but I weigh 250 pounds. So for me, the conditioning test was 2060s at, I want to say, maybe 10 seconds or something crazy. Mm-hmm. Like enough in a short enough time span that you really got to sprint to make it. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I can make, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to sprint to make it. Mm-hmm. And I just always thought it was unfair because I was running with guys that was 190, 180, 200, 205. You know, the closest guy to my weight was probably 210.
The receivers. You're running with the receivers.
Yeah, I'm running with the receivers. Bolden might be the closest to my weight out of everyone. And I think Brandon Bolden probably weighed 220. You know what I'm saying? That's 222, something like that. But I was 250. And I thought it wasn't fair because James Devlin weighed 250 and he didn't run with us.
Really?
He ran with the linebackers. You know, so I'm like, bro, listen, I need to run with those guys. And that was never the case. I argued till my face turned red, and that would never be the case. I'm like, Bill, man, what's up? Like, I'm outweighing it. He was like, but you're a skill position. So you need to be in shape like the other skill positions. And man, I want to say out of all the years that I was there, I probably passed the conditioning test on the first try. Mm-hmm. Probably passed it once, probably maybe. For sure once.
For the skill guys, it's 20 sprints of 60 yards each.
Yes.
Okay. How does it? It obviously varies from position to position too.
So the lineman is 40 yards.
Okay.
The mid skill is 50 yards, and the skilled is 60 yards. Obviously, you know, these linemen are big boys, but I will not discredit them. They are still world-class athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So a 40-yard sprint for them, it may look, for us, it be like, dang, what them the linemen got to run 40 though. I have yet to see a lineman fail that test.
That's remarkable.
They go out there and they do it, jogging. You know, a lot of them like 6'5",
mm-hmm.
so they could jog 40 yards. You know, and it looked like they're running, but they could jog that. I done seen some guys run that and come out after 20. They'd be like, you know, and I'm out here like, bro, I'm giving it every ounce of everything I got to keep up with Devin McCourty and Malcolm Butler and Deron Harmon and Aaron Dobson and all these guys. I'm running as hard as I can. And they're like, oh, nah, bro, you good. Don't trip. You good. And I'm out here like,
who's the guy that surprised you the most? Who's in terms of either flat out speed or just being too quick or too slow? Who's the guy that surprised everyone when it came to the conditioning test?
It's Wilfork.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. Never seen him fail it.
Wow.
Vince a big man.
Mm-hmm.
Vince a big man. I have yet to see Vince fail that conditioning test, man. He go out there and he run it, bro. And I'm like, bro, how? Because obviously he has a huge stomach. Like V is just not like the stature of great body,
mm-hmm.
whatever structure.
Mm-hmm.
Vince could dunk a basketball. Vince could run those 20 sprints like it's nothing. Vince could shoot a basketball. Vince could kick a football. Bro, Vince is probably one of the most impressive. Vince Wilfork is probably one of the most impressive guys I've been around, bro. He is. Don't let the size fool you. He is a really athletic guy.
He's cut down on his weight a little. I don't know if you've seen him lately. He doesn't look like the same guy.
He cut down a lot.
Yeah. He doesn't look like the same guy at all. It's really impressive.
All them linemen do that when they retire, man.
Yep.
Look at Sebastian Vollmer. Have you seen him?
His Instagram is remarkable. Yeah.
He looks amazing, like a bodybuilder.
He does. I want to change the focus a little bit, and I want to get, because OTA is wrapped up. We're sitting here Thursday, June 9th. They just called off the last day of exactly. We're going to get to that in a second, but they just called off the last practice of OTAs. They cut the guys loose for the summer until late July. What's the focus for a player at this time of year? I understand, you're getting your mind right, you're getting your body right. But if you're in camp with New England, if you're with New England right now, what are some of the things you want to get accomplished?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, right now, what I want to do is get familiar with the offense. I want to get familiar with the terms. I want to get familiar with the play calls, because right now, that's the only uncertainty that you have is who's going to call the plays. I'm pretty sure that the players know,
mm-hmm.
but who's going to call the plays? So you want to get used to how they call the plays. What are their favorite ones? What do they like? What do they like to do? Do they like to run more? Do they like outside zone? Do they like power? Do they like duo? So I would want to learn the offense and who's calling it, because getting back into it whenever you start in training camp, you're going to have to learn this offense on the fly. You're going to install it in the morning, and then you're going to go do it that day. So take advantage of learning everything you can learn about the offense right now. The conditioning part and all that, you've been doing that this whole off season while you've been there. All of that, but take full throttle on how to get this offense, because again, in my personal experience, if you don't know what you're doing out there, you will not play. No matter how good you are, no matter how nice of a player you are, you will not play.
You're fifth all time in franchise history in rushing touchdowns. I looked this up this week.
No.
Are you surprised at all? But I know you were Mr. Red Zone when you were here, but fifth all time in a relatively short period of time.
Kinda. I know that guys like Curtis was there. Kay Feezy.
Mm-hmm.
Dreads.
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon.
Corey's there. Sam Cunningham.
Cunningham was there.
Yep.
Also,
And that's basically the group.
Yeah. And they had Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. They had
I'm fascinated by this. I'm by the running backs in the turnover at the running back position under Bill. And as a running back, I want to ask you this quick question here. You got a career year in 2016, 1,161 yards, phenomenal numbers, a career high. I found an interesting stat, and I want to get your take on this. Bill has never had a back rush for 1,000+ yards in back-to-back seasons, ever.
Right.
Antoine Smith came close. Corey Dillon came close. Why do you think that's the case?
That's a good question. I don't think it's purpose. I just think that it's unfortunate because whenever you do play against New England, obviously you're going to look at it in game plan. So if you have a guy, if you didn't play against New England last year and you got a guy that rushed for, 1,100 yards, well, if he's still there and he's still the starting back, that's one of your main focuses the next. All right, we're going to make sure this guy don't beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where obviously Tom comes into play.
Yeah.
That's where, that's obvious. It's pick your poison at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Tom there is pick your poison. Either you're going to let 12 beat you or you're going to let me, James, and Dion beat you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always the case. Obviously when I rushed for that 1,100 and something yards, it was me, Dion, and James that year. But Dion was more so all purpose.
Yeah.
Some games he might get 15, 16, 17 carries. Some days he might get 2 and he get 7 catches. So I think all that kind of plays a role in you having those back-to-back, 1,000-yard seasons. And my personal situation, I think one of the big reasons why I did have almost 1,200 yards is because 12 missed first 4 games.
That's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah.
It was Jimmy for the first game. It was Jimmy for the half of the second game. And then Jacoby came in for the rest of the second game. Jacoby started the third game. Or hold on, maybe Jimmy got hurt in the third. Well, no,
against Miami, that third. I think it was the third game against Miami.
Right. Jimmy got hurt then, and then Jacoby came in and finished that game. And then the next week against the Houston Texans, maybe.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I forgot about the Texans game. That was Jacoby's game on a short week. I remember that.
Yep. So that was Jacoby's game. That Texans game when he balled out.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did like the little Peyton Manning fake handoff. You know what I'm saying? Running slow as hell to the end zone. And I think that might have been like I think that might have been the game where I had actually like my fastest run in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hit 20 miles an hour on that long touchdown run off to the left outside zone against the Texans. I think I hit like 20 miles an hour on that run. I don't it don't look like it to me, but I take it.
Last question for me this week. Who's going to win the NBA Finals? We're sitting here Thursday afternoon. The Celtics are up 2-1. I want to get your take on how things have gone so far. I know when you were in Boston, you were a presence, a daily presence almost, at TD Garden. You're a huge Celtics fan. I got to get your take on the NBA.
I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan.
Okay, that's okay. That's fair. You're okay. Good point.
But I'm rocking. I'm gonna rock with this. I mean, I was there for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna rock with the Celtics all day, every day. They always took care of me. They always took care of my family. Of course, I want them to win, but that's me. That's me saying it with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that with my heart. I'm gonna just say that. That's my heart speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to win really, really bad. But man, bro, those guys on the other side, it's just anybody else,
mm-hmm.
They had to be them, like it just Steph can give you 40 any game. Clay can give you 25, 30 any game. Draymond is a non-factor on the offensive side. Jordan Poole could give you 25. Wiggins could give you 20. You know, and so forth and so on. And a lot of things that people don't. One thing that people don't understand: Golden State, one of the best teams in the NBA on defense. They are. They're top 2 or 3 best teams in the NBA on defense. So are the Celtics. Mm-hmm. But the only thing is you're gonna have to continue. You're never gonna stop Golden State from scoring. Unfortunately, like it's hard, but you got to continue to score a lot of points. Tatum got to show up. Brown got to show up. Wilfork got to show up. They all got to continue to show up. You know, I'm going season. My heart telling me I'm going season 7.
All right, I like it. Look, I want to wrap up here by asking you. You got a lot of stuff going on away from the field. You know, not away from the field, but in your post-playing career. Let people know a little bit. And obviously, since we're going to be doing the podcast together, you're going to have more of a chance to talk to people about it week after week. But at the same time, what do you got going? What are you up to these days?
Man, I'm just being a dad right now. I'm running my CBD company, LG's Feel Good, rollerball, sleep gummies, anxiety drops, the whole 9. Man, we got anything that, you know, and it's all natural, all organic, and it has, you know, absolutely no THC involved in it at all. So this is safe for everyone. You know, a lot of people feel like I created this just for professional athletes when that's not the case, because my mom uses it, my dad uses it, my kids use it. My kids are athletes. So my daughter's cheer, my son does football, basketball. He'll start baseball here soon. Well, actually not soon. It'll have to be after football season. But he's starting to go to the batting cages and stuff like that. We just went to the field yesterday and hit the ball and fielded the ball and stuff like that. And they use this. They use it religiously. They love it. The sleep gummies. You know, my son, like, I mean, he's out for the summer now, so I give him a little leeway. You know, so I might let him stay up till, you know, midnight, 12:30, whatever. But sometimes he'll try to string that along. You know, I might sneak upstairs, you know, just to see if he'll sleep. Push the door open real quick, and you know, he might. I'll see his eyes open, and then when he see me, he'll be like, I'm like, bro, turn the TV off, bro. Go get a sleep gummy, bro, or something, you know, because he does. And I was like that. I had those problems growing up. I just couldn't sleep. I just couldn't turn my brain off. I feel like I had to stand up or walk around or something. So he has that, and but these sleep gummies help him. The anxiety drops help my daughter because she has a little anxiety when it comes to performing with cheer. So she'll go up there, she'll probably drop the anxiety drops a couple times, and she'll be good to go. It's for stay-at-home moms, dads, doctors, lawyers, fire, everyone. It's for everyone. So I just don't want people to think that this is just only for professional athletes. It's for everybody.
Where can you find them? You got a website?
Yes, you can find it at lgsfeelgood.com. That's where you can find all of the products. Moving forward, when I have my great professional setup over here, you'll see them. I'll have them on the desk. I'll have them in the background so, you know, people can see them and see what it's like. But I'll definitely check in if you guys are dealing with any kind of pain, discomfort, or any kind of anxiety, or, you know, sleep deprivation, you know, bad sleep patterns, any of that. This is the way. Not the pain pills, not the sleeping pills, not all the things that can, you know, destroy your liver in the long term. These are healthy ways to deal with all of that.
Love it. Well, LG, this has been great. A great debut episode here, the new version of the Patriots Report right here on the Believe Podcast Network. Going to look forward to talking to you each and every week, maybe a couple times a week, fingers crossed, if we can, you know, make it work, going forward, talking about the NFL, talking about the Patriots. So love to have you a part of the Believe team.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, guys. I'm excited. I can't wait. Again, we will be professionally set up soon after we get all this stuff moved out the way, man, get into the new house.
Sounds good.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, Chris. Bro.
LG, this has been great. This is perfect.
I know it's tough, and now I can kind of get in a rhythm of it. Now I can kind of get into a rhythm of it. So Does Thursdays work for you?
Yeah. If they're gonna kick us off here in a second here because I got less than a minute here of time. So if we do get kicked off, I'll give you a phone call. Real quick. But yeah, Thursdays are perfect, man.
Okay, cool. That's perfect for me.
We'll connect next week, and
couldn't have wished for anyone better.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I will tag you on Twitter when this goes up, and if you can retweet it a couple times, we'll be in great shape.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do all that.
Love it.
I appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you for watching Believe. You can find more great content at Believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Do you believe?